Let's see if they'll respond.
Thank you. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to the meeting. Do you have any updates for us this evening?
I do not at this time.
Thank you. That is the girl. It's a- your application, your application. Or the actually look at the application maybe from the medicine recipe, sometimes.
Sure. So I'm Greg Dennis, I work at Kathy Schwartz, we live at 111 Huguenot Street, we've lived there for about 22 years. We have a puppy that is a lot more energy than we thought it was gonna be, and so we'd like to fence in the rear yard of the property, take it room to run. We're very aware of, being in the historic district. We were the first applicants before this commission, 20 some years. So we are, want to make something that looks nice and is appropriate to the neighborhood of the district. So that's why we're here tonight.
So look at the application, we have approved, similar fences with the layout and mesh, so I don't think there will be any issues with that. I think one of our main concerns was, the gate that faces Huron Street. And, now with the new, amendment to the proposal, there will be 2 such gates next to the garage.
It's interesting. We say that, and I maybe I should let off with this. We have a proposed change, which is just based on a conversation we just had with our neighbor. So we've talked to all the neighbors about it. We had the lengthiest discussion with our immediate neighbor to our left, Quinn,
We met, yes, yeah.
in the yellow house. The property line basically goes right up to her house. So we don't want to put anything too close to her house, or she currently accesses, or her lawn service accesses her rear yard through our yard. And we want to be able to maintain that access for her. So our thinking was, instead of having a gate coming off the side of the garage, to have a gate farther down that stretch of fence between our 2 yards. So then we could use it as well for our lawn equipment and go down and then go into our yard from there.
There's just like a little dirt ramp. Right, and it's the.
Yeah, it used to, there's basically remnants of stone retaining wall, and then in the middle where it kind of gave way, this become kind of an earthen ramp that is used for access, for machine access. So that would leave, in terms of gates viewable from the street, that would be the picket gate in between the house and the retaining wall,
And so.
and then the one on the other side.
And so the 5-foot gate next to the garage, would that be along the fence line there instead?
Yeah, the idea is it would be somewhere down here, it's like, yeah, because it's actually. Like, so here's our neighbor's house, here's the access point that we're talking about.
Right, okay. We don't know that changing.
It's not clear. That is gonna move, or is that's the way it's gonna end up, since you talked again.
This gate will move, this will just be
To the lawn.
regular fencing, and I would say probably midway to, because it slopes to quite a degree, so ideally where it flattens out somewhat. Yeah, so we just had the opportunity don't speak to her today, so I apologize for the one who noted in the application.
That's fine, we can always amend the application, so that's definitely an issue. I think we, at least with my, when I was discussing the project with Tom, we really like the idea of the picket fence, or the picket gate, sorry, the fourth of the picket gate, I don't know.
Yeah.
My suggestion would be, I don't know if you have amenable to that, to maybe just simplify the design a bit to a straight top instead of the curved one. It's just my personal not even preference, but I just thought that it might compete a little bit with the beautiful curvy designs on your
Okay.
porch, and the straight lines would kind of carry the terrace
As long as it's
between
high enough to keep a dog in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I don't know how you feel about it. Because if you looked at the house, it has a really nice detail between the porch columns. It's just a straight, almost like a leather trellis.
Oh, you get this column.
Yes.
Yeah,
And so the straight lines will just carry through that design feature. It's just a personal preference, but of course, I don't think we would reject the application.
Yeah.
If you don't like
just what there was, I think I mentioned there had been a gate there that was in pretty bad disrepair, and then eventually just fell off as it rotted away, and that had quite a dramatic
Yeah, it was very,
peak in the middle, and
Crazy.
we didn't want to quite go that far, but
yeah.
I mean, it's subtle, it's nice, and of course, the picket fence is always classic and timeless, so.
yeah, I don't know.
But I don't feel strongly about it, it was just an idea, it's a when I was in the house, I don't know how everyone else feels.
Yeah, I think it would also be nice if just flat, straight line, but just a personal opinion also.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't feel too strongly either way, although I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see where you're coming from, but I don't feel strong enough that it's something that we have to, yeah, so. I'm okay either way, yeah.
Me too, it's just something, you know.
that's
So are they-
something to think about,
Yeah,
because
something-
that's the way they do.
And since you will paint it white, I would just suggest not a very stark white paint, not a very bright white.
We have white trim in the porch, we can match that.
Matching,
Yes.
just to replace
Oh, yeah, yes. Gotcha.
Yeah, but
just to have a similar
Prefer
than what you already see. We can always come back.
Okay.
that's,
Great.
and I don't know if you noticed, when you visited the property, but that picket fence, I think, is the most important because it's most visible from the street because of the way the property slopes down. You kind of almost have to be right on the side of the street to see the rest of it when you decide.
It's something unobtrusive, so we put
Yeah.
the rest of the fencing, it will blend.
Yeah, that's really our goal.
Yeah.
So, especially after we do good weather, so we do good.
Yeah.
That's really like,
I think we will not have to have a public hearing about this project, as per Tom's opinion, I don't know. Yeah, or do you think it's something neighbors should be notified about?
I don't, so. But, I mean, mostly because I'm kind of deferring to Tom with these things, so I know. I agree, but it also, it's, as you mentioned, like, it's only part of the fence that's really visible from the street, so it's, you know,
It's not really a permanent feature.
and it's, no,
A permanent fixture, it's not like you are out in the house, it's not.
Exactly. That's a new pub. It's full, but I see no reason to repeat this process.
Thanks.
I will vote to approve.
I have a motion first.
No, no motion.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I'm new to this. The procedure. So, we will have a motion.
I move that application HPC 2502 be approved.
As amended,
Your second.
we should say as amended.
As amended.
because I'll have to make-
Yes, okay. I second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll be in touch with the building department
Great.
after the meetings.
Super, thank you for all your.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our second application is a signed replacement on 83 South Sheffield Street.
No, it's actually not, it's a. I mean, this was something that came to us from the building department, but,
Tom said that, since we do not have jurisdiction.
well, no, the building department asked us to do a sign review, but Tom looked at it and said he didn't. he
I
didn't
think
see
he,
it.
yeah, he made that.
Really, so,
decision.
so the, I did append his report, which basically says it's determined like for likes. But he wanted to have it recorded because just partly to distinguish the design review function from the trees. Yeah, John Vet has joined us. We seem not to be broadcasting, even though I got the live on YouTube message. Um, I'm not hearing anything, I'm only seeing the village boss back street. But let me see. John's still here. John's muted, but if you want to invite him to unmute, we can start, maybe others joining him, I don't know if they're good. Yeah, I think they want to.
Good evening, John, can you hear us?
Hi, yes, I can hear you.
Hi, good evening, good evening. Nice to meet you on behalf of the HPC. Will, the homeowners be joining us tonight, or is it just you?
I believe the owners were gonna sign on around 7:30, they said.
So we can go on with some other business then. And then Don, you'll be sharing your screen then, right, if we get to that point?
That's right, yeah, I have the drawings ready to present.
All right, thank you for waiting.
Sure.
With, updates and discussions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is that, no, do you think we should invite your dad to come? It's,
Well, that gives us,
gives us only about 10 minutes, so you want to wait?
I'd say we probably need a little bit more time. I just wanna make sure that, you guys have enough time to get your input.
Is, maybe we will just go ahead with the updates and discussions. When we do that. It's important to note that, the village email and that address is going to change. And instead of .org, we would have to put .blog.
Okay.
As the end of the address. Think about it now about this change of the village one now.
I don't know, I can't answer that question, and actually, I've tried the village website with the .gov and it's not working, so maybe it's only email at this point. It could be they're still transitioning the web.
That's probably, yeah, I was looking at the building department's website and it was still not working, so.
Yeah, I couldn't get to the link to the YouTube channel through the .gov, just a static page.
So maybe it's
So I guess I'm wrong about that, and it's just the email at this point. And there will be a transition period anyway, so I think even the .org emails will get rerouted to the .gov address.
that's good to me. Just that's the second item is the 11 Water Street project, where the angles of the light fixtures have changed. So the planning board had a meeting on February 18th, and they approved the new lighting plan, which called for less bright lights. However, they will increase the number of lights. I haven't seen the new plan. But I have the specifics from last year's application. I don't know if it's important to know that.
I mean, really, we were just asked to weigh in, and Tom didn't see it as a significant enough change to require another review by our body. And because it's reduction in lot level, it seemed to make sense, so.
A bit of safety issues and things like that, so that's why they increased the number of lights.
So we submitted this little brief statement about not requiring more review in advance of that.
And then number 3 is the railroad siding project. After the demolition was completed, the rails have been transferred from March. And they are having some plans with Russian and surveys. They will be able to pursue.
Okay.
I think after the project, I see what they want to update us. But everything seems to be.
I think I understood him to say that something was, I think maybe the siding was being moved on the 4th. So I don't know if it's moved to the location of the install or not. Do any of you know? Did you?
I don't know.
Guess we'll see.
Number 4, 81 Chestnut Street, the new Shirley's restaurant. I went to the library and with the historical records, and I forwarded whatever I found to the applicants.
Yeah, no, thank you for doing that.
For sure, it was really fun. There were some interesting bits of that ice cream cone, the infamous or famous ice cream cone. Hopefully they will be able to integrate it into the science.
Yeah, I hope so.
I can't remember if this was mentioned in the clippings, but I went to the reconnaissance level survey, that big binder that we have. I think what the question that came up last time was when it was constructed, and that structure, it was 1953.
53.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just read this, book,
Oh,
and it has all the information in here.
Oh,
So Tom lent it to me and I'm passing it on.
okay.
and then the alteration date was 1988, which I think is when the code changed.
Okay.
Steve, do you have any updates for us?
Not much from, let's see, number 130 is still for sale. They've had their first open house the other day. But nothing. Yeah.
And 191, we did get the specs for the gable windows, but haven't heard anything about the sidewalk yet. We had asked for a sketch layout.
Yep.
I think everything looks good there. They always really have detail and.
There was plastic, I went by there yesterday, there's plastic over one of the gable windows, so I think they're probably making that change.
Yes, John pays. Or if
It's still a little bit early, because I had suggested it would be later before we get to him, so
In that case, let's proceed with the art show. Everything is going nicely there as well. Their second press release will go out, probably in the next edition of the paper. Everyone on the mailing list were notified, and things are buzzing along. The exhibit will be open from May 5th until June 30th, and the reception will be on May 31st, Saturday, from 1 to 3 p.m. And I've been thinking about possible judges, and sometimes we ask last year's winners to be judges, really Kate Anderson and Sylvia Bell. Those names came to my mind. Do you know
I missed what you said just now.
Kate Anderson and Sylvia Bell? I've asked them about possibly being judges this year. And I think it would be a nice idea to have the popular award. That was really a good picture of the show.
Did you mention anyone else besides Keith as a possible judge?
No, Cindy Bill.
Cindy?
Cindy Bill. Our budget report looks really good. For 75% of the fiscal year, we only expended 62.19% of the budget. And a lot of purchases plan. Do you know anything about that?
Well, I know that the order has been placed. I don't know when it's due to come in. It was a little more expensive than we anticipated, but that's not a surprise.
Yeah. And maybe since we don't expand all of our budget, there will be more.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. There will be some upcoming conferences and training opportunities, specifically the one in Poughkeepsie between May 6 and 8. You can colleagues that maybe some of us should participate in that since it's so close by. And if so, maybe we could carpool. Perhaps we can discuss that at the April meeting as well. Just think that,
I think I'll be around for it.
see,
I'll check my schedule.
And we have a new secretary appointed. She's not here tonight, but we will meet her in April.
She hasn't, she officially starts April 1st.
When's the official start date?
April 1st.
Okay.
So she'll be with us next month, just kind of watching and learning. Hopefully everything works. And then we'll probably swap and she'll be the take the lead in May and I'll just come back.
Great.
Thank you
Thank
for training.
She's a good choice. She's looking forward to it.
Probably I'm looking forward to it. And even though she's not here, she on behalf of the commission, I'd like to welcome Sarah.
Yeah.
It is 7:29 and Kayla Miller, the property owner, has arrived. We know that John wants to share his screen. Hi, John.
Hello,
Came in.
can you hear me okay?
Sorry, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay. And are you expecting anyone else?
Well, Kayla Miller's here. She's joined the meeting. That's my client. So she's here if anyone has any questions for her. But and I believe Jeffrey's with her, Jeffrey Canino, the other applicant. So they're here to observe and answer any questions if any come up.
We did. Let me stop my screen share. Just a sec. Stop screen share.
Great. I will share mine. And let's see here. I'm going to start with, whoops, let me put that back there. So I'll start here with Google Maps, just to orient everyone to the project. This is a little frustrating. Come on. Okay, sorry. There we go. I can full screen it. So the project is on 52 North Chestnut Street. Let me introduce myself. I'm John Vett. I'm with Allen Ross Architecture, and we're representing our clients, Kayla Miller and Jeffrey Canino, and we've designed a porch renovation for them on 52 North Chestnut Street. So you can see here it is. It's just south of Broadhead Avenue. And I'll look at we'll pull up the street view. It's really a great way to kind of see what is there now, of course. Ooh. Can you see it? It's being unresponsive to me here. Hold on a second. It's not responding at all to me. Well, you guys know where it is. We can just look at the drawings. So the existing building, can you see the elevation there now?
Yes.
Great. So the existing building has a brick stoop at the front, by the front door. It's a little less wide than what the new design is that shows here. And the idea is quite simple. We just want to remove the existing brick stoop, which has a railing and kind of a brick base and some stone stairs, and replace it with a wood porch in the style as we see it of the house being a Victorian. So the idea is here, these are just the plans of removing the existing porch. You can see the size of it here. It's a little bit smaller and the stairs off center biased to the left. We'll replace it with a new porch with the stairs centered. And in its detailing, we're trying to match the existing detailing of the house, which is a a nice modest Victorian style. It has clapboard siding on the sides. Now it was originally clapboard actually, but it has tiles on there now. And at the top you can see it has like a shake at the top. And what we're doing is centering the new porch on the existing door. It's a little off center from the window above, but that works out okay. And basically picking up on the detailing of the house, as I said, the cornice and kind of heavy trim around the pediment at the upper part of the house. We're emulating that at a smaller scale at the porch itself. So I'll zoom in on this. You can see, as was common with houses of that time, we're actually using parts from essentially a catalog, an online catalog, where we picked a certain type of balusters and brackets and columns and finials for the handrail that are picking up on the Victorian style, but also the pediment actually is pretty interesting. This we are building custom. So the brackets and the balusters and the columns are all stock parts, and also the trim parts up in the fascia here and at the edges of the roof line. Those are all going to be stock parts. The central pediment is actually custom. And the idea is it comes from a design that's inside the existing home. At the the baluster at the base of the stair on the inside has this kind of round flower motif. And the owners really like that and wanted to pick up on that. So we looked at a few different designs and options of different types of ways that the pediment could be done in a decorative way. And we came across some that were like an arrayed effect like that, sort of this sort of star effect. We really liked that. But then looking carefully at the existing detail on that baluster, we interpreted it and made it so that it would fit inside the existing or inside the design of the new pediment. And sort of trying to pick up, as you can see, some synergy between the shapes and forms, where in the bracket, these are areas that are cut out, they're sort of negatives, where here the same sort of lollipop form or curved tapered form is the positive shape. So there's some sort of synergy and harmony between the detailing there, which working with something out of a catalog and also picking up on the design of the inside of the house, trying to make that all kind of work together. We feel it's pretty successful. So you can see here, we did do some renderings. Now these were really just to demonstrate the design for construction or for the bidding really, so that contractors could understand how it would be made and what the different parts were. So these colors are only schematic. They were just placeholders to sort of differentiate the different pieces of the design, not the proposed colors. That's still TBD. But as you can see, basically we're just going to be cutting the pieces out of wood and then assembling it and gluing it up, painting it up. So you can see here, it has a certain depth to it as that pattern lays across the boards on the back. Here's another view here. I'll zoom in on that. So this model was just schematic, and obviously we don't have the columns and the other pieces here. Really just to get a sense of the scale of the trim and making sure that these pieces fit in that top part there in the pediment itself, and get a sense of how the depth will read of how far the cornice sticks out versus where the very furthest back piece of the pediment would be, and then these other components of it that stick forward of that. So trying to tune that and get that to read right and feel right, and also be set back far enough to be protected from the weather and things like that. Here's sort of a detail, very close-up detail where the piece would be cut apart. And you can see there's some different levels to those pieces with subtle differences, which create nice shadow lines and kind of give it a sense of playing with the scale, but also give a sense of depth and a little bit of complexity there. So here's the side view. So there are 2 columns and 4 brackets, 2 on each, sorry, 6. There's 2 on each side and then 2 in the center. This other front view is kind of a hybrid view. So on the left side, it's showing the elevation from the very front of the building, and then on the right side, it's cut away to show the structure and how the railing is hung, where it sits, and where the bracket would sit, and how this dropped little beam works on the inside. So it was really to just demonstrate how it's built for the contractors. So there's an existing sconce at the exterior. We'll be replacing that and then matching it on the opposite side, adding another sconce to the other side of the door. Being cognizant of the lighting requirements for the village, knowing that either has to be shielded or has to be a certain, I think it's under 50 watts incandescent equivalent bulb. So we haven't selected those yet, but we're certainly aware of that requirement, and we'll be sure that we meet that. The steps will be made of wood, and there are existing, let me go back to the plan here. There are existing bluestone pavers right now, and they run out, you can see here, they run out to the sidewalk, and then there's a short run that heads north to the gravel driveway. And we will be basically resetting them, pulling them up and resetting them to match the new lines, the new orientation and location of the stair, because the stair is now shifting a little bit south from where the existing is, and also making the stair comes out further, so we can use less of the pieces. And then we're indicating here one of the pieces might need to be modified to reach the because since we're shifting the stair, we will modify one of the pieces to go on the other side toward the driveway, and just make up that other piece that we would need to make that other side run, basically. Here are some details of the components. Again, these are all stock components. So you can see a rail, a sub-rail with some little beading on it, gives a little detail and some scale and depth. And then there are different rails. The taller rail is at the guardrail, which is 36 inches high, code compliant, at the edges, outside edges of the porch. And then the shorter rail is the rail that runs on. It's the handrail itself and guardrail at the stair. And you can see for here just some more details of how we're running the trim at the outside edge and building a little depth here and a beam. There is a structural beam inside, and we're wrapping it with this cladding here to give it some detail, and using the little step in, which is common in that style of architecture. So we're really matching the historic detailing that would be appropriate for the house. Here's just another detail showing that similarly. So at the deck level, there's concrete foundation below with some posts and brackets, very straightforward standard wood framing. And then up above there'll be a deck. And again, here we're not quite sure. We're showing Trex or fir tongue and groove. I think we're going with fir tongue and groove, which would be, again, a little more historically accurate rather than a gapped type of board you get with a Trex style deck. So, and then lastly, at the bottom, we're building out a skirt, just this AZEK lattice here, which would be white, that would sit underneath the porch. I mean, it could be painted, but I think we're thinking white. So that's just a panel that would wrap around all 3 sides of the porch and would be removable for access and maintenance. You can see here we would set a triangular shaped one underneath the stairs while closing that all off. So it's all kind of an enclosed skirt or enclosed base around the whole porch itself. That's basically it. It's pretty simple design. Here's the baluster. Out of the book, they have to be cut to fit the run, of course. So they come long, and then the contractor cuts them and fits them. And it's great because these are stock, but they're well designed, and they are fully code compliant for the 4-inch sphere that we can't have at the edges there. That's basically it. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
And welcome, Kayla, to the meeting. I think this was one of the most detailed descriptions we have. Thank you so much for coming to us, even though you are in the B2 district and you are not obligated to seek any input from the HPC or the design review. Also, we really appreciate that you came to us. And thank you for the very thoughtful design. I don't know if you know anything about the history of the house. It was built in 1895. So just because of the age of the house, it almost seems like, that there must have been a porch there somewhere,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, if you just look at, I was hoping you could pull up the existing photo because I walk by the house all the time, and to me, it's obvious that there was a porch there, especially since the door is offset from the windows on the second floor. It's just,
Let me try to bring that up again, and that's actually a great point. There, we do have some other information, but let me just try this again because it just kind of died on me.
Well, yeah, I could talk.
We do have one. Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Kayla, about the tax
yeah.
map, right?
So yeah, I had when we moved here, I had gone to the library archives trying to find some information about the original, porch on the house because I also thought it was odd that we didn't have some sort of covered porch. And originally there had been one that wrapped entirely around the front of the house to the right-hand side. But at some point it had been, taken down and what we have, the stoop was built.
Since we don't really know what is there, I think it would be unreasonable to try to recreate
Yeah.
something. I went to the library as well. I haven't found any images. Just a few short articles about the origin and we built it.
Is,
Did you want to mention?
we still have John? Okay. Well, yeah, I was gonna say, even if we found photos of the existing porch, it's a really handsome design, and I like how you picked up on the detail you said from the, what was it, the newel post or something like that. It's a great set of drawings, and you know, it's a really nice design, and it's very well thought out. So really, I mean, I just want to say I like the design a lot. The only question I had was like the petals in like the kind of gable end of the portico. And you know, I know the rendering is just kind of diagrammatic in a sense. It's, you know, it's not exactly all the details, but were those flat, were those petals, are those flat, or do they have like a slight radius? I think it might be, I don't know. I feel like they want to have like a slight radius on the curve, but
Yeah.
in the rendering they look flat.
Can you see now if I'm sharing my screen again? Can you see the renderings?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
so
So
those petals, yeah, they look flat, and I know it's difficult to render a 3D model like that slight radius, but it was just something that occurred to me, like, oh, it might be nice to have those, like, I don't know, have like a slight radius on them, and I don't know, just curious as to your thoughts on that.
sure.
Not
So
something I feel strongly about, but
do you mean along the outside edge as where can you see my mouse where I'm pointing along the outside edge there?
it's like, you know, like if, you know, just almost like a little concave, like the actual petal
making it
itself, like if
bevel?
you were to cut perpendicularly and, you know, into the petal, you know, it would have like a slight radius, you know what I mean, like a concave kind of shape to the front of the petal, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I don't have the photo of the interior detail at my fingertips here, but basically it does have a softness to all the edges of it.
Okay.
It sounds like what you're describing. Also, it looks like it's probably been painted like 500 times, so it's kind of like the details just sort of encased in paint. So that said, those two things together, it definitely has a softness and a curviness. I should say a softness to all the edges, which it sounds like that's I think what you're describing, which could be doable. I think it might be nice. I mean, there's a certain as you can see the way we're showing it here, we're imagining, you know, this would be cut out of it would be cut using some sort of a CNC machine or a laser, right?
Yeah.
So it's not going to be hand cut, it's going to be machine cut, and it'll be super precise and it'll be very crisp edges. And I think considering softening those edges is something we should think about. I think it's not a bad idea at all. I think we'd want to be careful about where we do it. For instance, the little round ring, the little round circles on the outer ring here, the white circles. If we try to ease those out, it might start to change the diameters of each of those, and that could create a problem with the alignment. But for instance, the outer edge of the big central circle, the outer face edge, that could be eased, you know, meaning that they would essentially sand it or use a tool to sort of bring down the edges a little bit, and what we call easing the edges all the way around the outside perimeter of that. And the same could be done for the petals as well, essentially, which would yeah, I think would soften it up, and that's something we'd definitely be happy to explore. You know, get Kayla, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so the interior detail on the stairs inside our house, it is like a beveled edge. So I think that softening the edges on the petals there would, you know, tie it together, but also I think it looks good inside, so I imagine it would look good outside as well.
Yeah, it's something to explore. And I think the best way to actually do that is, you know, to do a mock-up. So when we're doing this, we have them cut one of the petals, or maybe cut two, and then we can just ease one of them and look at it. And that's where I would think to do it. I think, I mean, we could spend time messing around with it in the model, but that's not really going to tell us really. We want to, I think, look at it and look at it at scale and look at it in place and say, okay, which one is working better here, easing that edge out. Um, yeah, I think it's a really interesting thought, and I think it's something we could certainly do.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something, I think it's gonna look nice either way, and you know, I mean, we can only have a discussion about something like this because you know, you give it so much detail in the drawing. That's a very nice design. So it was just a thought I had, and you know, I don't know, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I like that. Were there any other thoughts or comments? Or anything else you want to?
Yeah, I think the design is very handsome.
Yeah.
Very sharp, very in the period of the house and. Great job.
What was that? You mentioned the online catalog that you pulled the brackets and the post from. What catalog is that?
Sure. So, if you see, let's see here, one company, you can see here on the drawing, it says Vintage Woodworks. So that's one of the websites. That's where those brackets are coming from. And then there was another company, right, there's Highland Manor. Here's another supplier, which is where we're getting the ball finial from. And there was a third one here from, no, that was also Vintage Woodworks actually. So both the balusters and the brackets are from I think it's just vintagewoodworks.com. So it's a fantastic resource. They actually have a lot of really great advice on Victorian style and design, which is helpful as well. Not just the parts, but sort of how they go together, and they really are into it, and they have a great database there. So it's highly recommend it.
Yeah, no, I think the design is great. I think the scale of all the trim and even, even the boxed out beam having the fascia, like a 1/4 inch or so, coming down below and not having, like a, I don't know. It just looks great. Like it just looks exactly how it should, in my opinion. It's very nicely designed.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, where you see that oftentimes. So we're talking about where's that detail? We're talking about this detail here, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
what happens, unfortunately, so many times is when a house like this, no one wants to paint it anymore, and then they end up wrapping it in aluminum and vinyl. And what happens is, you see it all the time, is that this beam gets wrapped in aluminum usually, and they just square it at the bottom.
Yeah.
Use that little recess that anything might be setting up into the beam of the column. The head of the column will often set up into that. And yeah, you just lose all kinds of detail, but that's just one of the ones I have in my house where they wrapped it in aluminum, and I'm like, I know there's a little step underneath there somewhere, but anyway. So no, I appreciate that. And we tried to also when we first started the design, you look at all kinds of examples, and we talked with Kayla and Jeffrey about like, what do you guys like, and show some examples, and we looked at a whole bunch of different things, and um and some of it that they really liked were beautiful, but just kind of maybe too big in scale or too ornate for this house. Like the house just couldn't really, it just wasn't going to work, right? It had to be balanced and has sort of to the scale and level of detail of the house. So we definitely went through some permutations and spent some time looking at that and trying to get that synergy right, make it feel like it belongs to the house, and maybe was always there on some level. Um, as we said, there's some alignments that are a little bit off, but we're bringing it back to a better sense of alignment, I think, with the way we're doing it. I did lose connection there for a moment, so I know Kayla was talking about the research she had done and found the drawing that showed the old porch that wrapped all the way around. It looked almost like it had a tower or a bump out at the south corner there. So it was maybe much more grand, and this is more modest than that. But I think we're really feel pretty good about where it ended up.
My colleagues in complimenting you about the design, and also the fact that the outside and the inside will have some connection.
Yeah.
Oftentimes there is a disconnect between the outside and the inside of the house, and I think this brings the two together very nicely.
Yeah, that was Kayla and Jeffrey's idea, and we were really excited when we saw it. When I first looked at it, I thought, I was a little nervous. I was sort of challenged. I looked at the photograph of this because it's round, this thing, and I thought, oh man, I don't know how we're going to do this. Like, where would this really work out? And then it just kind of sat there and we kind of percolated around for a while. And as we continue to explore and work it, we kind of found where it really worked, and we're very happy with that. So.
Excited to see this project to completion and can't wait to see the end.
Excellent.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much.
I can vote.
We don't have to vote, but I think
Okay,
we
even
can
better.
just make a note that this was a very bad, very bad application. We all agree that it's going to be a beautiful design. Thank you, John and Kayla, for being here. And we hope to do.
Great, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a nice
Have a
night.
nice-
Thank you.
All right, take care. Thanks.
Right.
Bye.
For a preliminary discussion about 123. I just for you that I couldn't share the pieces of the plan promises is the project.
So do you want me to discuss the design?
Sure.
Oh,
Where do you wanna start, Shane? Which of the images do you wanna go first this one?
yeah, so if you just zoom out a little bit, because on the bottom, there's the existing photos. Yeah, so these are just, we just thought it would be helpful to have the existing elevations, but
Yeah,
I wanted to start with that.
so yeah, basically the history on it, we bought the house like about 7 months ago. And we don't use the 3-car garage. Most of the time we park our cars outside. So we would like to keep the north space in the north part of the garage, the north bay, and use the other 2 bays as a workspace. So and then, yeah, so basically then in the interiors, there is a room, an existing room in the back of the north bay that we would like to use as a bathroom. And it's like a slab thing, so this will you clean up before you go into the house. And the exterior, they have, we have exterior windows, so we like the design, we like the look of them, but we would like to change them to Anderson 400s. Because the existing ones right now are single glazed
They're kind of falling apart.
and they're falling apart.
Yeah, so right now there's a 3-car garage, obviously, and there's one original garage door, the one on the north. And you know, which is nice.
It seems like it's existing now, so.
Yeah, and then there was 2 replacement garage doors that, you know, are not so nice, but anyway, so the plan was proposed is to keep that north garage door as he said, to keep that as a 1-car big garage, and then separate the space, you know, it's basically, it's like a workspace for, you know, like woodworking. My dad's a carpenter. So then I guess, and the other part of the application too is a deck, and I think it's just relevant. Because Val, if you wouldn't mind just scrolling over, there's that photo of the back of the garage. There's this like large retaining wall. It almost looks like there was a deck there at one point that got removed because of those, you kind of have those CMU columns there, but I mean, it's just a retaining wall. It wasn't a deck there, to my knowledge, but there's you know, I mean, my parents are still young, but they're getting older, and they want to have a master. Well, there's a master bedroom on the first floor, and there's a door that's currently facing the north, or sorry, that's not a door, it's a window. So
Yeah, so it's our master bedroom there looks onto that side there, so we would like the deck to connect into that. So this way you could actually walk out into the deck. And should also be accessible from the garage, like a double door that will provide ventilation and access to the deck also.
yeah, so the deck
Take inspiration from Steve's deck.
Yes. which is really nice, but yeah, so
Really nice, so similar vibes to that, right, Jay?
yeah, so like the deck is gonna be anchored to the back of the garage. It's really the only place where you could have a deck, and it also just in plan, it makes sense because it's right off the master bedroom and it's just a good spot, you know, there's a great view, as you know, Steve could attest to the, you know, out west towards the ridge, it's really nice, and just be nice to have an outdoor space that's accessible from the first floor instead of having to go downstairs through the basement. So that's more or less the goal. There's a 20-foot setback requirement from the side yard. My parents recently got a property survey just to see exactly where that was. So that, you know, you can place the edge of the deck, and I think we even kept it a little bit. We didn't go right up to the edge of that. We went close with the design, but anyway, so actually, Bella, if you wouldn't mind going to the next sheet. So for the design, so first of all, the east elevation, you can see, you know, we're keeping that existing garage door that we believe is original. Just basically repaint it. Is it operable? No, it doesn't have an automatic.
It doesn't have an automatic, right now it's manual.
Yeah, so anyway, so I'm not sure if it's operable or not, but it would be repaired to operable condition if it's not. But the idea is to keep the same door panel because it's in decent shape and fix it up and just paint it to match the existing. Right now it's white and it matches the existing running trim. And then in terms of the windows, as my father said, they're these existing rectangular windows. And, you know, we, instead of introducing a whole new type of window, even though we did do that on the north side because we just felt the scale of those windows worked better. You know, we wanted just to work with that existing window shape and size and type, and it, you know, it just seemed well suited for a garage, and it just, I don't know, we just liked it. So, and you know, in order to keep as many original details as possible, we just kind of leaned into that design. So on the east elevation, where we're essentially filling in the two garage bays, we're proposing those two, basically it's the same size window as the existing, it's just a new type of window, the Anderson 400, as my father said, and those would be centered basically in the, you know, where those doors were. They're almost like kind of replacing the doors, but you know, they're obviously going to sit within a wall that's, you know, filling in those openings. And then this was actually my dad's idea, which I thought worked well. And you know, the roof, it's not like, it's not huge, it kind of dominates the look of the garage. It's, you know, the ridge isn't that tall, but like when you look at the building, it's a lot of roof. And we just felt like, you know, these small shed dormers just make the building a lot more handsome, just more interesting.
Aesthetically, it looks nice.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's, you know, I mean, it's still a garage, you know, I mean, to put really ornate gateway dormers, it wouldn't make a lot of sense, it wouldn't look appropriate. So, you know, shed dormers, I feel like they look nice, but they're still relatively simple. The way that the garage is constructed is there's a series of trusses that basically divided the ceiling, and they kind of also divided in a way like 3 different garage bays. So those dormers sit within the center spaces of those trusses, which you could, I mean, they were drawn in plan, so you can see those in the plan. So the dormers, you know, they also work with the way that the garage was originally designed and constructed. You know, as I said, they fit in the center line of those spaces. They sit on a center line of the existing garage doors, of those proposed windows on the east facade. And then moving to the south facade, the door and the window right next to it, which is the elevation on the right, those are existing right now, but we're basically proposing to replace those in kind. So again, the Anderson 400 series window, it's essentially the exact same size, and it has the same divided light layout, and it has essentially the very same size window frame styles and rails, but it's a double pane window, and it has true divided lights. So it's I don't want to say it's an exact match because it's a different window construction, but the size of it and the divided light layout are all the same, so. You know, we feel like it's more or less the same, it sits in the same window opening under the same headers, essentially the same size window. And then the door panel, we found an Anderson series door that has the exact same design with the 3 horizontal panels below the glass. So again, like those are getting replaced essentially with just newer versions of the same types of windows and doors. That door in the corner there is new to match the existing door on the other side of the south elevation, and you can see that it's at a lower level. That's just how the grade is, like those 2 steps that you can see in section, those are existing. And the idea there is to just to have access, like at the main house, there's a door directly across from that corner. So this way you could, you know, it's just easier to get into the garage instead of having to walk, you know, to the other side of the south elevation, which, you know, it's not that far, but you know, we just figured it was easier access to the main house. And then let's see, on the north side, I don't believe there's no windows on the north side right now. But you know, since we're basically enclosing the garage and just having that one bay, which is pretty tight. It fits a car, but it's tight, you know. We want to just bring some natural light into the garage because you know, the other windows brought light into the whole space, but now that that's going to be divided, we wanted to bring some light in there so it wasn't just really dark and wasn't relying on you know, artificial light. And then if the bathroom is approved, you know, the kind of slop bathroom, you know, we figured it'd be great to have a window there as well, so that's the small window. And then going to the rear of the garage and to the deck design, as you can see, the deck is pulled. I'm not sure the exact distance actually offhand, but I might say in plan, but it's pulled away from the corner of the house because of the required rear yard setback. And also we just, you know, didn't want to get too close to the property line. You know, we want to have a comfortable distance away. And we were thinking that actually another inspiration from Steve's deck, which we all admire from a distance, it looks great. There's just kind of like a privacy screen of like these random sized boards that we thought was really handsome. It kind of went with like the, you know, semi-modern design of like his cable railings. So we kind of just vultured that detail more or less and just figured that we could have a privacy screen all along the north side, you know, which you'll see from Huguenot Street if you're walking away from the bird sanctuary towards the stone houses. Just to provide some privacy, you know, if my parents are hanging out on the deck, and we just feel like it's actually like it's more handsome to look at that than to just look directly to the underside of the deck. You know, it's visually, I mean, that's kind of it's an inspiration there in the bottom left corner. Although we would have random sized boards instead of all the same size boards, but it would essentially look very similar to that, running the full height of the deck, which is about, it looks really tall in the drawing, but it's about 10'6" from grade to the top of the deck, and then another 42 inches for the railing. So whatever that ends up being, you know, 13.5 feet or so, a little less than 14 feet. So that's on the north side. You get that privacy screen, which again provides some privacy. We feel like it just looks great. That's what we think anyway. And then facing west, you know, kind of a simple just cable railing system. That's the image there of the cable railing that we like. I'm not sure if any of that would be visible from the street, but Trex decking, although Stephen was you were suggesting
Black Locust has a possible wood replacement. It's fairly more expensive. I think we used it, but it's really durable, and it's what they use for fence posts and things.
Okay, very good.
So it's a super solid, nice looking.
I know sometimes the tricks get, I don't know, it's really the same. So, just to walk barefooted, so that might be a good safe, alternative.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think that's a great suggestion.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion.
So, and then the 400 series windows there, you can see the details, the full divided light. And then for the Munson profile, we went with the thinnest Munson profile that they offer, which matches actually the size of the existing Munsons and those existing windows, which are, they're not, I wouldn't say they're industrial type windows, but they're very, like putting double hung windows on a garage wouldn't look great. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So again, just leaning into those existing windows and the design, we just try to match them as closely as possible. And we felt like the Anderson 400 series windows essentially has all the same details, but it's just a better window than what's there, which really needs to be replaced anyway because they're kind of falling apart as well. So I think that's basically it. So the deck has 2 levels. So there's the level at the main house and at grade, sloping down on the south side of the garage. And then there's the level of the deck that's, like a couple, I don't know, inch or 2 below the door saddle to the garage. So we felt like this was a good way to negotiate the 2 heights. You have essentially like a little stretch of the deck at the height of the main house, and then some steps up to the deck at the garage level, and then a stair going down to the rear yard. And yeah, just kind of wanted to keep the design simple, and not competing with Steve's deck, which again we all very much like, and we didn't want to match it exactly, but we also like the way it looks, so we just we were inspired by Steve's deck. So I think that's essentially it.
Jan has made it very easy for me.
Yeah.
Do you need the 37?
Oh yeah. We should take a look at the plans. Yeah, so you can see in the existing plan there's like this room in the corner. It's 5 foot wide and then 8 foot long, or 8 foot 2 or something like that. And I think it was my dad's idea. It was like, we should, if we can, if we can get it approved by, I guess by the planning board or whatever, it would be great to have a bathroom in there just to clean up after doing, whatever, work, sanding or painting or whatever it is, going on in the workshop, just to clean off before coming back into the main house. So that's basically tucked in there, and then the wall that divides the workshop and the 1-car bay lands between the existing, what's now those 2 existing garage doors. Again, the one in the northeast corner would remain, and then the other ones would get essentially filled in, but then those windows inserted on the existing center lines and matching the existing head height of the of the other windows that are there right now. And then you can see actually those dotted lines in plan, those are the existing trusses. So that kind of sets the rhythm of the dormers above are centered on those, the windows are centered on those, just like the garage doors are centered now. That kind of sets the layout of the fenestration of the garage, again, like it does now.
What do you envision for HVAC?
Possibly doing like a mini split always, so this way you could tuck it underneath the deck in the back also. Since this was like a privacy. I don't particularly like looking at those things.
No, it works well to have it on the deck.
Yeah, it does. I see you as a text.
Yeah, and there's a guideline for that too. So.
The only other thing there is there is siding that was put on the south side. So we'll be taking that out and returning it to its original cedar shingle.
Yeah,
Which would be just kind of a nice look.
yeah, so there's the cedar shingles on the front, the north side and the south, west side right now, and then on the. Sorry, on the north side, on the south side, closest to the main house, it got covered over with aluminum siding, so just to remove that so that, you know, the entire garage is consistent again, instead of having just one wall. The randomly aluminum siding, and this, the cedar shingles are below that.
Yeah, the whole house was covered. Sided.
Yeah. So I guess once we take it off, if it's not in good shape, we just match existing. Presumably it's probably not in good shape, that's why we covered it, I don't know, but I guess we'll find out. Once we take it off, if, you know, this is all. So I think that's basically it, but maybe Val, if you wouldn't mind just going back to the proposed elevations, because I feel like that kind of tells the story. Oh, sorry, the next PDF.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, that one, yeah, that one's, that's. I don't know,
So can I ask you about the north elevation?
Yeah.
Below what you see is there's that line of railroad timbers
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
that are, you might wanna take a look at those, they're starting to disintegrate.
Oh,
Okay.
It's not, I don't think it's not a little bearing wall, but it's decorative.
Yeah.
So that's something we might want.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably retaining, it's probably acting as a retaining wall, I imagine.
I don't know what they built on, just the foundation, go all far down.
I think it's like, I don't know, it's a slab on grade inside.
It's a slab on grade inside, and then it's like a block construction, like cinder block. But I
For
don't
the
know,
foundation wall?
like Steve said, I don't know how far down the foundation goes.
Yeah.
But that's a good point, yeah, so to look at that.
Yeah, that's basically it, you know. We went through a few different designs, but we wanted to give curb appeal to the garage, because I mean, I'm sure all you guys know, it's right on the street there. I mean, right when you drive down Mulberry, it's right in front of you. And it's not hideous, but it's not exactly that handsome either, so, you know, we felt like this design makes it nicer without also maybe drawing any more attention to the garage from the main house. It just, you know, we felt like it kind of does a good job of kind of straddling the line between dressing up the garage but still keeping it a garage, you know, like the windows, again, you know, we felt like were appropriate for the garage, and the dormers are simple enough, but, you know, bring some more light into the space and break up the roof line a little bit. And we just wanted to stop there. We felt it was unnecessary to really add any more detail beyond that.
I think it improves the street view so
Yeah.
much, so much.
1000% improved.
Yeah.
Nice job. Thank you.
Nice job.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no, it's all shade, thank you.
No, that's not.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we hope that this space will help us with the house itself.
Oh, yeah, because you plan on,
Because we plan on hopefully at one point returning the house to shingles, you know, what it originally was. It was covered over with siding. And at some point, you know, just doing a kind of a major job in the house.
yeah, I should have said that, like this, well, I mean, my dad's a carpenter, you know, woodworking hobbyist, but, you know, quite honestly, like this space mainly will provide like a workshop space, you know, just while the other renovations for the main house are going on in the future. You know, all stuff that would be.
Fruits.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all that will get reviewed right here.
I'm sure.
So, but that's the goal.
Did you ever consider on the south elevation centering that window, the gable?
You know, that's an interesting question. So that window is there right now. So the goal was to reuse the existing header and just basically put in the new window right into the existing opening. That being said, it's not like it's a whole lot of work to move it over,
It's not that varying with the gable there,
yeah,
you know, it's a very simple
Yeah,
thing to do, and it will look really nice on that
Yeah.
elevation.
yeah, no. That's good.
Just something to consider, looks,
Yeah.
everything looks beautiful the way it is, but
Yeah,
that would make that elevation more pure.
right.
that's it.
Let's just put another.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I would say is like, if we do center the window though, then that, from the inside out, you're gonna be looking. Right now, if you look out that window from the garage, you can see down Huguenot Street. If it gets shifted. You know, under the center line of the gable, then you might, we'd have to see, you might just be looking into the side of the main house. But it's, yeah, I think you're right, I think it probably would look more balanced in the middle, you know?
Yeah.
But. Yeah, I don't know, it's not something we consider, because we just figured that we were reusing the existing opening. Yeah, we'll take a look at that, I mean, we have to come back next month anyway. The full application and you know, the rest of the details, so.
I mean, either way works, it's
Yeah.
just.
No, it's
an idea.
That's a good suggestion.
No, it's
And idea, and
sure.
everything is beautiful, and that's gonna enhance the whole Huguenot Street coming down over and seeing that front elevation.
Yeah.
So good luck with it.
Yeah, no,
Looks
thank
great.
you, thank you.
And I will enjoy the bus even more.
No, we're really enjoying it. Right now, we're here kind of like weekends and stuff, but we're trying to get more and more time here as much as we can.
Nice.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. I believe it was a builder also.
Oh, yeah.
But we talked about offline.
Did we get a schedule a public hearing?
Why not yet, we could have a formal application.
Oh, he doesn't? Oh.
Yeah, well, I
thought he asked us for that.
Oh, no, I wanted to just talk with you guys first. Before we just hit you with an application, just kind of get your thoughts on the
Got
design,
it.
you know, just. Kind of bring you guys into the fold, into the discussion. And you know, we'll have the application, everything ready for, you know. Next month, so,
Nice.
um,
When do you plan on, assuming it gets approved, when do you plan on breaking ground?
Yeah, I kind of, you know, over the summer there, you know.
Whenever.
just, So hopefully in the next, I don't know how long the whole process takes here, you know, possibly about 2 months or more with it.
yeah, I mean, after next month,
Yeah.
if everything gets approved, then I guess we, you know, go on to zoning and to,
Yeah,
building department, I mean, Steve made a good point that, you know, it's existing non-conforming, which we already know, because it's, the garage is within the required setback.
Okay.
But, at the same time, like, almost every house on Huguenot Street is within that setback, they must have established that setback after like all those houses were built, I mean, which makes sense considering they're all pretty old, but. So, you know, I don't know, I'm not sure if we had to go to the ZBA, I'm not entirely sure. But, you know. That's something we have to see.
And I imagine we would have to schedule a public hearing.
Yes, oh, absolutely, yeah,
To-
oh, for sure, oh, yeah, oh, definitely. So that would happen before this. Yes, exactly,
Very nice.
okay, yes, thanks, yeah,
I was going to say that sometimes when a new material comes in the market, like metal siding, people get excited and then they have their building up, so hopefully those.
yeah.
no, the shingles, I think will give it a, you know, even the house itself. Siding doesn't just do it just through.
Yeah, I personally don't hate it, but I know it bothers.
It bothers us. Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, thank you all for your
Yeah,
input.
you're welcome, nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming out. Thank you, too. Bill, I'm glad to see you. I'm getting to them, I think we'll see you.
Okay,
Yeah.
see you this weekend.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, I'll get together with you this weekend, about the tree
the fifth apple tree, and then, I need the name, please, of your, the guy who surveyed, because we'd like to get. We'd like to hire him back also.
No, he was very good. And actually Paul had a tree guy next door who, so he was talking.
Okay.
So we'll all get together.
Good.
Thank you. All right, have a great
Take
night.
care of family.
Let's see.
Bye then.
Okay.
That's my dad. No, yeah, no problem.
Thanks, man, Shane.
No,
Good luck.
no, I very much, yeah. I know, I'm very lucky that my parents, live close by now. Which, yeah, at first was, something not everybody would be excited about, but it's been great, so,
That's awesome.
yeah.
They're working their time, the gradual.
Exactly, yeah, they're waiting for a grandkid and they'll be here all the time, so, we'll see.
Well, I think we covered pretty much everything on
Yep.
the agenda except what we
Last time.
executive session. Is there a motion to say the executive session and
What do we need to talk?
we need to talk about personal issues.
I move that we go into executive session to discuss personnel matters.
I second.
All in favor?
So we just